good morning. Today's another one of our first five. Today we're looking at this text from Leviticus chapter 26. And I know if you're like me, you think Leviticus, why in the world are we looking at Leviticus? Have you read Leviticus? Honestly, if you haven't read it, you're probably not missing out a whole lot. I know, that's weird to say that about the Bible, but it's kind of true. Leviticus is one of these unique books where it's full of rules and laws. And if you're a part of our church and you just listened to last week's sermon, you heard me talk about it's way more about love than it is law, because law leads us to the place in which we see God as a God of wrath. But this particular chapter in Leviticus has us looking at the way God calls us to live. And here's what it says. So Leviticus 26. He begins by talking about, do not make idols or set up an image or a sacred stone for yourselves. Do not place a carved stone in your land to bow down before it. I am the Lord your God. In other words, I'm God. I don't need an image for you to bow to. Just trust that I am the one who's the creator of all. It says, observe my Sabbath and have reverence for my sanctuary. I am the Lord. In other words, observe my Sabbath means we're called to find that we work 6 days a week and we rest on one. And just as a side note, the Sabbath is not Sunday, it's Saturday. Just so you're aware. If you follow my decrees, here's what you hear. If you follow my decrees and are careful to obey my commands, I will send you rain in its season, and the ground will yield its crop, and the trees of the field their fruit. Your threshing will continue until grape harvest, and the grape harvest will continue until planting. And you will eat all the food you want and live in safety in your land. I will grant peace in the land and make you and you will lie down, and no one will make you afraid. I'll remove savage beasts from the land, and the sword will not pass through your country. He goes on to talk about all these things. But then, jumping into verse 14, he says this, but if you will not listen to me and carry out all these commands, if you reject my decrees and abhor my laws and fail to carry out all my commands and so violate my covenant, then I will do this to you. I will bring upon you sudden terror, wasting diseases, and fever. They will destroy your sight and drain away your life. You will plant seed in vain because your enemies will eat it. He goes on to talk about all the ways that life will not be good for you if you don't follow the decrees of the Lord. And he goes on to give this caveat towards the end of this chapter. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but you can go read Leviticus 26 if you want. And he says, but if you'll turn back to me when you've turned away. And so all of this to say that Leviticus 26 for us is a reminder that God calls his people to live a unique way. He calls us to live from this place of love and trust. Now, we know Jesus comes to repair and make all things new. In fact, Jesus is the one who says to us that God causes the rain to go on the righteous and the unrighteous as well. That's not how God functions. And so you're like, well, what do I do within Leviticus this here? Maybe this is helpful for us. God calls us to be his unique people in the world. We're called to follow after him no matter what's going on around us. And when we follow him, God will bless us. Now we know from Jesus and others that we begin to find later on that sometimes God's blessing doesn't look how we thought it would look. But we begin to recognize that God is present with us no matter what happens. And we begin to live in such a way that we make wiser decisions. And so part of what Moses wants the people to understand here from Leviticus 26 is this. If you'll make wise decisions with your life, decisions that lead you towards God, you'll find that your life is blessed. If you make unwise decisions that are more about yourself or worship of other things that aren't God, you'll find that eventually over time, your life is less blessed. That you'll find destruction comes to you. And you're like, well, but the people getting ahead in our world, they don't seem to be making wise decisions. Some are, but some aren't. And so here's a challenge for you and I today. Will you seek after God in such a way that you'll recognize his blessing among you, that you'll know his love, that you'll know his mercy. And so may you find that this day you seek after God, you seek after his law of love, because Jesus summarizes all the laws of the Old Testament in a simple line. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. May you and I live as that unique people. We'll catch you next time for another First Five.